people who went from poverty to rich. How did you do it and what are some tips? I'm in my mid-20s and currently really struggling to afford anything. I want to save and start investing, but I genuinely can't. I admit many bad life/financial choices have led me here, and I want to change it. I'm so broke it's to the point where I'm starving for about 2 days each week and my account is at zero or negative by about Saturday/Sunday. I get paid Tuesdays, but I am still able to keep a roof over my head at least. I make roughly $65K per year, but honestly the only way I can dig myself out of this hole is making more money. The job I work at I see no future in, there's minimal growth opportunity in it, and my managers all treat me like complete shit constantly. I'd love to even just do something else where I make the same or less, where I'm not treated badly, but I have no education and minimal skills in anything but laboring. I come from a poor background and my family has no money or meaningful connections at all. Has anyone here been in a similar situation and dubbed themselves out? Any tips? I've read your situation. While I empathize, this is going to sound very, very harsh. You need to grow up. Fast. All I see are complaints about how bad the situation is, but you don't seem to be taking every opportunity to get out of your situation. You spend a lot on gas, say you have no time to view cheaper apartments, but then you admit I do drive after work as well and on weekends. It's not all just to work and back. You owe $30,000 and make $4,000 per MO after tax. As a single guy in his 20s with no kids, there is literally no way you need to spend $4,000 each month. Time to buck up, kid, get cheaper rent or move back home with your parents, rent a spot on the floor of a friend's house, learn to live on rice and beans, get a basic phone, cut out the nonsense. Go to work, come home and pay your debts. You do that for a year and you're done. If you can discipline yourself to endure 1 year of shitty life, you will come out stronger than ever before and will be on track to win your future. You don't, and you're F-ed for life. You are your problem, not your situation. Probably an unpopular opinion, but have you considered the Defense Force? Pay will depend on what you join as. Basic training is hard work, but after you'll come out on at least $50,000. But because of the accommodation plus food around, you can't really go without a roof and food. It won't take long at all to get to $60,000 to $70,000. Some trades you'll get to $90,000 in 4 years. Getting in does take time though, and does depend on factors such as fitness, police check, and whether or not you can get a security clearance. Some jobs you don't have to be a citizen either. I think there's a few you can do as a permanent resident. Get to do a bit of travel, meet cool people, get paid to learn. It sure can be a drag sometimes, but it's definitely worth it overall in my opinion. Specialist infrastructure, my man, ports, power lines, wastewater, railways, etc. They hire off the street and pay great, often with old-fashioned conditions like time and a half and double time that have been stripped from so much of NZ. I'm just a laborer in a specialist industry which I've been in since my early 20s, now in my late 30s, and while I'm not buying a super yacht anytime soon, I have it all: a paid-off house, a year's wages in the bank, etc. Basically, anyone in those industries with 2 brain cells to rub together is on over 100K. I think I earned 140 last year, bit of overtime though, probably an average of 50h/week. Obviously, you need to reduce your outgoings and increase your income. Speak to your lenders, insurers, and utilities. They might be able to help you go onto the payment plans to reduce your debt. They want you to be able to repay the money. Can't do that if you end up bankrupt. Biggest debt needs to go first. I agree, cars are money pits. Consider your options with that. Also, when you are budgeting, always put something into a bucket savings account, even if it's only $5, and don't withdraw from it. It will slowly add up and is a good habit to start. I have savings accounts set up for all of my large annual bills, rate, insurance, Christmas, etc., so I'm never behind. Took a long time to be able to do it, but like I said, it's a great habit, and now I'm a compulsive saver and have a nice amount put away. Look for FIFO work, or like another commenter suggested, look for well-paid jobs that don't require high-level qualifications. I've heard meter readers are paid well, but I can't back that statement up. Consider a second job or side hustle. Personally, I have done a few things over the years to help us get ahead. Best money spinners were starting small businesses that had very low overheads and could be done outside of my work hours. All you need to do is get an ABN and appropriate insurance and you're off. I was a children's entertainer, sounds silly, but you can get paid up to $100 per hour to wear a mascot suit on weekends. But other options would be commercial cleaning, lawn/garden maintenance, or anything that you already have the equipment for. Start small and local. These tips won't get you rich, but maybe they will. I don't have qualifications, but I've forged a good lifestyle for myself out of various sales positions. I earn a basic retainer salary, but get big commissions and bonuses selling properties. I work in the retirement sector rather than real estate as it's booming right now. I also emigrated to New Zealand from the UK and started my life all over again. I'm not super rich, but perfectly well off and feel super rich in life experiences. I have a nice home and live near a stunning beach. Good luck. Don't be afraid to move and always put savings aside even when working on minimum wage. Get rid of credit cards and live within your means. If you can't afford to buy a home, look into house sitting over renting as it allows you to save. I was $30,000 in debt and had never earned over $60 KP. At 30. By mid-30s I had a household income of $250,000. Find a good growing company with opportunities. Started at the bottom, literally packing boxes, and how I'm country manager 8 years later by working my arse off, learning everything about the business inside/out and doing uni on the side. Went back to uni when I was 26 and studied IT for another 3 years. With degree, came to Australia, got a well-paying job. Best life-changing ever that actually works, but no one does it because it's too hard/too lazy to go back to school for 3 years, some says. Life does change during that time, bit more frugal, no party, only study, but people need to realize it takes whatever to achieve something greater. People fall back into the life they are used to, being broke, because it's easier. Sadly, I wish I could give you advice that would help you in your situation, but mine is akin to winning the lottery. I was drowning in student debt, barely affording rent, and had less than $200 in my savings account. I went deep into NFTs and crypto in 2020 and somehow managed to make it in the space. Ran up my investments, if you want to call it that, from $500 to $800,000. Far cry from rich, but it absolutely changed my life. I was able to use that as a cushion to get a better job, bought a house, and eliminated my debt. Almost all of that money is gone, and I wasn't able to buy a Lambo or whatever, but my situation is night and day nowadays. I don't know what the takeaway here is really, sorry. But best of luck, mate. Went back to uni, retrained, put in the mahi from the bottom, paid off my student loan, tripled my income, and bought my first home finally in my early 40s. It can be done if you work hard. I avoided trades because I wanted to earn big money, and trades generally have pretty average salary caps. You'd need to start a company to make big money, which is a huge endeavor without the right personality. I opted for programming. It's something you can actually scale your income quite well with. It took a few years to become proficient at it, but now I will probably never apply to a job again in my life. Well, at least not with a resume online. I could stop working, but that would be depressing. It's fun being a part of something. But yeah, my tip is pick a scalable expertise. If I had to do it all over and didn't want to do technology, I would 100% move to a cheap tourist town in the South Island and sell things to tourists. I have family and friends in this who make huge money. It's definitely what I'll do if I ever give up IT. Yes. Self-funded university. Lived off the smell of an oily rack. Took every opportunity thrown my way. Literally felt the fear and did it anyway many times in my career. Paid off student loan, paid off house. Now working towards semi-retirement a decade earlier than pension eligibility. Both my parents rent and live on pension with nothing. I was so afraid of that being my future, I was determined to change my trajectory. This includes actively choosing well-paid career options. Learn to love being good at whatever you choose to do. Avoid credit cards. Put aside money, i.e. pay yourself first. If you earn $100, then put aside $10 and pretend like you have just earned $90. Do this with every earnings. Save. Not an extreme example, but I grew up in poverty and am now late 20s. Wouldn't say I'm rich exactly, but it feel like it in comparison. For me, it was hard work, sacrifice, and learning how to be good with money. I missed out on a social life at high school because I was too busy working. I spent all my summers during my uni years working, so I had money to survive on during the uni years. I had no option but to learn how to budget and live within my means. Now that I am earning a full-time salary, those skills have stayed with me. I have a strict budget, and when my pay comes in monthly, it gets split into different accounts, so I'm left with little spending money. I treat my savings account sort of like a KiwiSaver account. I never touch it. Cut back on any unnecessary spending, ditch subscriptions, cut out takeaways, meal plan, and budget your food shops. Prioritize clearing any debt and start as fresh as possible. On a separate note, look for new jobs. No one should be treated like that in the workplace. Get on Seek and start applying for jobs. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and there are absolutely some great paying industries you can get into without qualifications. All the best. These aren't like university where you can't work full-time, etc. I know someone who teaches program 2 and it's very flexible, one class a week in the evening and doing tasks in your own time for assessment. I feel your pain. In my 20s and early 30s, I never had enough money and couldn't even contemplate buying a house. I even had second and third job and still didn't feel like I was getting ahead. Then I eventually opened my own business and worked it freaking hard, and now I own 5 businesses and am in a very good space money-wise. I still work hard, but it's my choice. My point is, at some point you're going to have to take chances and put yourself out there and back yourself. It takes time. It probably took me 10 years to go from terrified of homelessness to earning $100,000, which has literally just happened. Have you sought out any financial or budgeting advice? Tawananga o Aotearoa offers these courses for free, and you get a qualification out of it, and it can lead to other higher free qualifications in small business and project management, if those are of interest to you. I've never had a detailed budget, but always paid myself first. Paycheck comes in and transfer a portion to savings. I've only ever touched my savings to invest in real estate. The rest of my money I blow. Can't remember what percentage I saved when I was really poor, couldn't afford the bus and had to bike to work, but I've saved 25% plus of my net pay for at least 15 years. Also worked hard at getting my income up. Sometimes worked 3 jobs. Ditched a job and changed career as I was only making $65,000 and was really never going to make much more. Last at it, also never got into consumer debt. For years never had more than a $2,000 car. Finally got a $12,000 car and paid the loan off in 8 months. Always focused on having complete control of my future cash flow, future wages. Debt just destroys this. Excluding debt for real estate. Also never bought a mansion. Live in a nice house, but a massive house just drains your cash and becomes like renting off the bank. I think I have more questions than answers. If you have no education, then yeah, you might struggle a bit. But that isn't a deal breaker. Given what you have said here, it sounds like you are on a bit of debt. And it might be high interest. Do you cook your own meals? And have you got some staple basics up your sleeves? Do you flat or live alone? Digging yourself out of debt is going to probably be the first step. Find ways to earn extra cash and get a better paying job. Then budget for every dollar. Once you can cover the essentials, start to pay down your debt, highest interest to lowest. After that, invest as much as you can. Avoid super high risk / volatility like crypto or individual stocks. Your problem is a lack of earnings. It's the credit card and consumer debt. Why on earth did you get a car on finance when you cannot afford it? You need to fix your attitude towards money. I have a feeling doubling your income won't change, but because of your poor spending habits. Get rid of that debt ASAP. Maybe look at consolidating the debt for one of those 0% interest-free for X number of months and then put all your efforts into reducing it. You can live a rich life right now if you didn't have that debt hanging over your head and were more intentional with your spending. Thanks for watching and being on the road to Reddit Millionaire with us. So, do you have any tips to share on becoming rich? Let us know. Until next one.